Hey, what's going on, my friend? This is Dave Sharp, and I'm actually sitting here putting together a headline document for you that you can download here on this day in the boot camp. This is me in the office on a regular, Tuesday or Wednesday. This is what looking, can't actually talk or think straight. I've actually been writing copy all day. So it's interesting that I'm going to talk to you in this video about writing email copy, because sitting in front of the computer sometimes writing copy is, can be an exhausting effort. And the reason why is because you're becoming a wordsmith. It's wordplay. And it is really something that I've developed a love-hate relationship with over the years. So I want to try to give you a perspective that's really realistic and that also lets you know that no matter what kind of a writer, what level you're at right now, that you can actually do this. And if you continue to practice, you can actually become a world-class copywriter. Now, if you haven't heard of that term yet, a copywriter is very simply somebody who writes persuasive sales copy. And that's what email, and that's also what any copy that's going to go on a sales page or a sales video or even a webinar, that's the type of writing that is. It's not creative writing. It's not content that's going to go on a blog. It's persuasive copy to sell something, to influence somebody. And when it comes to emails, we're trying to get somebody to click. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get them to open the email. That email headline needs to be persuasive enough to actually get them to open the headline. Then the next thing that we need to get them to do is read the email. Okay, so that's the next thing. And then actually click on the link if we've provided a link inside of that email, and then go wherever we're sending them. And so that's a sequence of events similar to the idea or goal of writing a book. Well, what is the goal of the first page of any book? It's very simple: to get people to read the second page. I like to keep things extremely simple when I think about them, because the goal is, we get lost when we start to future trip in these big, long, perfectionist and unrealistic goals that we set for ourselves. Very simply, the reason why I'm providing you with this document that's going to give you 250 email subject line ideas is because the very first part of writing emails is actually learning how to write a good headline. It's really that simple. The beautiful thing is that skill alone can spill over into your headline writing for your YouTube videos, your headline writing for your social media posts, your headline writing for different sales letters that you're going to be writing. These skill sets overlap and spill over into these different areas. So when you get good at writing powerful, curiosity-driven headlines that make somebody so engaged and curious from that first sentence that they want to open the email and then read the email and then continue to click through, this is a skill set that will benefit you in many different areas of your marketing. So when I first started, and this is what I'm going to leave you with today, is to think about this. When I first started, my wife reminded me of this actually last night. I forget what we were talking about, but something about where we came from. We often reflect about where we came from. Because when I started in this marketing journey, I had, not only did I have no degrees and I had no business experience, now this was 10 years ago, but I also could not write. I literally could not write because I was a 8th grade educated, 9th grade dropout. My spelling was horrific. As a matter of fact, it still is to this day. I've got people around me, Matt is one of them, who is constantly, grammar checking my writing. And when I started, I would send out an email. I had very few subscribers on my list, just maybe like you do. And I would send an email out. I would send a broadcast out, and somebody would send it back to me, and then another person would send it back, and another person would hit reply and send it back. And you might think that's good, but unfortunately, what they said was, that was the worst thing I've ever read. Never email me again. And that hurt my feelings. But as any entrepreneur who has grit and perseverance is going to do, I said, okay, I'm going to send this over to my college-educated wife, who was then my girlfriend at the time, and I'm going to have her proofread these, send them back, and then I'll send them out. And so that at least took care of the majority of the spelling and grammatical errors, and I wrote every day. I wrote every day. At the very least, I wrote an email that I also posted on social media. And 10 years ago, it was the very beginnings of things like, Facebook, MySpace was just phasing out. But I would write one email every day and I would send it out to my list, even though I had a small list. And I would also post it on whatever social media channels I had. And through that practice over now 10 years, I've become a industry renowned copywriter who my specific words that have come out of these fingers onto these keyboards have generated me $250 million in sales in companies that I own. This is not my consulting clients. This is companies that I own. So $250 million in sales. Think about that. Regular dude, just like you, that started out maybe even in a worse position with less education, less experience, and my communication skills, my ability to talk into a camera like I'm doing right now, and also my ability to write, type like I do now, those skill sets have been developed over a period of 10 years. And it didn't take 10 years to start getting good. I started getting good after about 30 to 45 days because I just learned. And then after 6 months, I was pretty good. Then after a year, I was really good. Imagine doing something for 365 days. You get good. You've got a job or you've had a job in the past and your first 30 days, you sucked. You were new. It's getting used to it. But after doing it for a year every day, you were a vet. You were seasoned. So copywriting is one of the high income skills that you need to learn and develop. And writing emails is a perfect segue into that developing that skill because they're short, they're punchy. It's not writing an entire sales letter. It's just writing an idea. And you can tell stories. You can just write direct promotional emails to where you're sending somebody to a sales page or a webinar. You can provide value in emails. I mean, I like to fall back on the learn, do, teach formula, which is I learn something, I go out and do it, and then I share it. In emails, I share it on social media, I share it in videos. And if you follow that formula, you're going to never run out of things to say to your audience. I've turned nearly, which my wife has even gotten upset at me in the past, nearly every situation in my life I've turned into an idea in an email. I mean, actually, in the last couple of years, I've kind of taken my privacy back a little bit, but for the first 5 years of my career, my email list knew every damn little detail of my life. And the more intimate and the more vulnerable that I got with my audience, actually, the deeper of a bond and the deeper trust that I actually built with them. So I encourage you to realize that every piece of information, experience, and little tiny thing that you know is email content. All of it. You don't need somebody to give you an email template or swipe. All of those things are helpful, just like this 250 word email headline swipe or 250 headlines swipe file that I'm going to give you. It's helpful. It's helpful to get started. It's helpful to go to something like this when you need it, when you need an idea, like an artist who needs some inspiration. But when it gets time to get into the content of your emails, I just want to remind you, you have a wealth, an absolute endless well of email content. And things are happening around your life every day that you can take, and you can use those stories to prove points, such as analogies, metaphors, to prove points and actually engage your list. So again, I encourage you not to just fall into a fact giver, somebody who just remains boring with facts and figures in your emails, but learn to be a storyteller. Learn to be somebody who leaves cliffhangers in one email and is not afraid to say, tune in tomorrow to hear what happened, right? Those are fun. I get a lot of my ideas from movies and in shows, and I look at, gosh, what made Seinfeld? What made Friends? What made Sopranos? What made all these shows so great? And even all the ones that are on Netflix and Amazon Prime now. Well, man, they're cliffhangers. They keep you coming back, right? So you can take all of that experience and all of those lessons and add that right into your emails and set yourself apart from all the other marketers who are just, slamming promotional stuff into people's inboxes. You really want to learn how to become a storyteller and how to be not only educational, but engaging and entertaining. One last tip that I'll give you is that with your emails, stay away from needing to always be so proper. One of the absolute most profitable rules that I've followed and tips that I've adopted and secrets that I've used is that I like to write my emails similar to the way that I talk to people, So don't be afraid to use a ... or don't be afraid to, think about how you text your best friend, and don't be afraid to be a little bit politically incorrect and grammatically improper with your copy. I got one more tip for you too. Is I like to, and I'll tell you where you can find this. I like to really make my, I like to really try to focus on making my copy as easy to read as possible. Okay, so there's this little thing called the Hemingway app, and you can just Google it, Hemingway app, and you can also go directly there, HemingwayApp.com. And what you'll do is you'll post your words right here. Just delete all this, and if something comes up red, then it's really hard to read. If it comes up yellow, it's not so hard to read, right? And it'll give you the legend over on the side. Okay. I don't know if you can actually see that, or is that showing backwards? But anyways, the reason why I think Hemingway app is a really powerful app, and you can even write your emails right in Hemingway app, or you can write the email and then copy and paste it into Hemingway app. What Hemingway app will do is it will teach you how to write clearly and simply, which means that you don't want any big block chunks of text, and you want to keep your paragraphs to 1 to 2 sentences. Okay, and you want to really write in a 4th or a 5th grade level, because if something's difficult for somebody to read, or there's a big block of text there, it's going to be their eyes are going to gloss over and they're just going to move on. So you want your reading not only to be engaging, all of the stuff that I talked about in the first part of this video, but you want it to be clear and simple and easy to read. And the Hemingway app will give you actual colors and tell you, hey, this sentence is hard to read. And you can play around with it. And you can, a lot of times, if a sentence is long, I'll add a ... and then move down and create another paragraph and start that next paragraph off with ... and then the words. So I'm breaking up paragraphs, right? And you'll see that if you read marketers' emails and you really analyze great marketers' copy, which nowadays you can do all over social media. You probably subscribe to 10,000 marketers list in your inbox right now. Don't lie. And so you can see how a great marketer writes copy oftentimes just by looking at them. But Hemingway Editor, great little app. It's totally free. You don't have to opt into anything to get it. And it'll help you to write clearly with your copy. So I look forward to seeing your breakthroughs on these coming videos here this week that have to do with emailing your list and kind of writing copy and understanding the difference between, automated autoresponders and broadcast, and sort of some of the tips and secrets that we use in our business to be able to be successful with email. So make sure you download the headline swipe file, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.